Next, to a flare-up in the fighting in eastern Syria. This week, Kurdish-led forces have clashed with fighters from local Arab tribes, leaving at least 25 people dead. This fighting is taking place in the province of Deir ez-Zor, where the US Army has also deployed several hundred troops. The province was also once a hotbed of Islamic State militants. So to tell us a bit more about all of this, our terrorism expert Wassim Nasr is with me. Wassim, it's a complicated story, isn't it? There's a lot of factions involved. So just tell us, first of all, what's going on in Deir ez-Zor and why it's concerning.
Well, actually, we should know that the fighting that happened weeks ago between the Syrian Democratic Forces and Arab clans is just unfolding again today. So we had a period of calm because many leaders, local tribal leaders, cut deals with the Americans and with the Syrian Democratic Forces. Those who are fighting today, and we might see the images, those who are fighting today are those who were in the real hotbed of the insurrections at the beginning, meaning the town of Diban, and they refused the deal that was cut by other local clanic representatives because they think that they didn't get their rights back, that they are still fighting for their rights. And the big game here is that the US will be losing very valuable allies in the fight against the Islamic State, and it is really, the coalition is scared that some of them might be attracted by the Syrian regime on the red part of the map that we see here. So it is very critical for the situation there to find something that could last without fighting erupting periodically.
And Wassim, fighting is also going on elsewhere in Syria, particularly further north from Deir ez-Zor in the province of Aleppo. To what extent is that linked with this fighting in Deir ez-Zor?
Well, it looks not linked, but it is actually linked because when the fighting began in Deir ez-Zor a few weeks back, there was a big uprising of the clans that are present in the areas of the Syrian rebels in northern Syria. So all this help that they wanted to give to their fellow clan members in the east was massing in the areas that are held by Syrian rebels backed by Turkey, in this area in clear green that we see. But since a week, many of those decided to stay there because at the same time there's another play ongoing, and we talked about it here, that all this military mobilization, it changes the equilibrium in the areas held by Syrian rebels, either Tahrir al-Sham HTS or other backed by Turkey. And here we see photographs from the last fighting, and each photo was taken in one of the localities, and this is drone footage, one of the localities that were controlled by factions that are close to Tahrir al-Sham. So Tahrir al-Sham, they were waiting for it from actually the west, from Idlib, so it came from the east by turning other factions. And here is a public demonstration in Al-Bab refusing the intervention of Tahrir al-Sham because the situation is politically very critical, and as the Americans are staying and back and looking at what's happening in Deir ez-Zor, the Turks are doing the same in this area. They are back, they are trying to see who's going to take the upper hand. And here what we see are other forces that came into the same area that we saw in order to stop the fighting and to implement a deal that was cut, meaning those who had the upper hand militarily close to HTS will keep those villages, will be a prisoner exchange, and then we'll see what will happen next, knowing that even on the Turkish side, some in the Turkish authorities prefer to have one strong party to talk to than many weak parties to talk to.